Seikei was tired of riding. The kago swayed back and forth endlessly, making him feel dizzy and sick. Though the floor was lined with silk pillows, the summer heat made the air inside the kago hot and sticky. Seikei slid open the bamboo door and peered outside. A girl and an older man were sitting under a pine tree by the side of the road. The girl had removed her sandals and was rubbing her feet. Just at that moment, she looked up and met Seikei's eyes. Embarrassed, he quickly drew his head inside the kago. Seikei wished the girl hadn't seen him. He felt ashamed to be carried along like some precious cargo. He would have gladly walked. He wanted to see the countryside and enjoy the views of the sea and mountains, but his father would not permit that. Seikei's father was a tea merchant from Osaka, the third of Japan's major cities. He was going to Edo to open a new branch of his prosperous firm, and he took Seikei, his eldest son, along to learn the business. It was important to make a good impression, Seikei's father said. They should not enter Edo on foot, like laborers in search of work. Remembering this, Seikei sighed and picked up the abacus that father had given him. The abacus was a wooden frame with rods that held strings of beads. Those who were skilled in its use could rapidly calculate the prices, profits, and inventory needed to run a business. Seikei despised the abacus. He would much rather have written poetry. At school, he had won a prize for writing a haiku, but his father had not been pleased. "Writing haiku is a talent expected of a samurai," father had said. Seikei understood. He could never be a samurai. The only way was to be a member of a samurai family. Even though Seikei's father was wealthy, owned a fine house, and traveled in a kago, he would never be the equal of a samurai, nor would his children or their children. They would remain merchants, rich or poor, all their lives. And so it was far more important for Seikei to learn to use an abacus than to write haiku. Seikei's thoughts went back again to the girl he had seen. In spite of his efforts to concentrate on the abacus, the words of a haiku began to form inside his head. A girl's feet are sore. A merchant in a kago. How lazy he is. Hours later, Seikei was relieved when he felt the kago bearer stop. As they set their burden on the ground, he opened the door and stepped out. It was good to stretch his legs, but he saw immediately that the journey was not yet over. They had reached a checkpoint in the road. The shogun's officials were stopping everyone to ask what reason they had for traveling, and the wait would be a long one, but the road was choked with people waiting to be questioned by the officials. Dozens of pilgrims were making the journey to Ise, Japan's holiest shrine. They were led by Buddhist priests and nuns, who told prayers on the strings of beads they wore over their orange robes. 2 beggars moved through the crowd, holding their bowls out for offerings. The large kago that held Seikei's father immediately attracted their attention. Seikei saw the door slide open, and his father's hand drop coins into the bowls. Father believed in giving to the needy. He regularly made sacrifices at Buddhist temples as well as at the shrines of the older Shinto religion. Most Japanese did the same. As Seikei's father had told him, all religions may have some truth to them. We must be sure not to offend any of the gods, particularly since we have been favored with wealth. Seikei looked at the sky. Storm clouds had blown in from the sea, and it would soon rain. He hoped that they could pass through the checkpoint before the storm, for it would turn the road muddy and make the journey longer. Behind him, Seikei heard the sound of approaching hoofbeats. As he turned, he saw horsemen holding bright banners with the mon, or crest, of a samurai family. "Make way!" they shouted. Seikei dropped to his knees and bowed his head. The pilgrims at the checkpoint moved quickly to the side of the road and did the same. It was unwise to fail to show a samurai proper respect. Cautiously, Seikei raised his eyes as the hoofbeats passed. There were about 20 horsemen. All of them wore the 2 swords that marked them as samurai. But it was clear that one of them was a daimyo, or lord, who commanded the others. He wore red leather armor and a hachimaki, or headband, that was decorated with his family crest, a fish inside a red square.